Can a woman compete against a man at Hyrox? Some people might say, of course not. Men are stronger and fitter. Women don't stand a chance. But those people would be sexist. Of course women can compete and beat men. But in this video I want to look at whether a man and woman of similar running ability can compete against each other. Does the fact that some of the women's exercises are slightly lower than the men's equivalent mean that the finish times should end up being similar? There was only one way to find out. My wife and I both entered Hyrox. We run at a similar pace and we both don't do much weight training. Would we both have a similar time? Would some exercises be easier for me than her, or her for me? Spoiler alert, there is a twist at the end of this video. Let's start with a little bit of background. How many sports are too many sports? Some people take part in just one sport. Some might try two and call it a duathlon. Others might do three and it'll be a triathlon. After that, you're in the realms of pentathlons, heptathlons and decathlons. But once you get more than three, you also get a rest between each event. So was Jessica Ennis a truly multi-sport athlete? She had her feet up for half the day. And does a heptathlon have 7 events or 6? You run both the 200 metres and the 800 metres. And in a duathlon, you also run twice, along with a bike ride, but it only counts as 2 events. If you repeat an event even at a different distance, is it not the same event? I ask this because Hyrox has either 16 events or 9. There are 8 1-kilometre runs between 8 other events. Does each run count as a separate event or is it just one? Is Hyrox a novathlon or a sedecamothlon? I'm going to go with novathlon just because it sounds cooler and because I couldn't pronounce the other one. The first 1k run was straightforward. It was 2 laps the hall and a route marked with fast and slow lanes to help separate people. But it didn't really matter as there was plenty of room to run at your own pace. The fact there are 2 laps gives plenty of opportunities for spectators to watch. The first section is a 1-kilometre ski and Concept 2 ski ergs. Each station is marked with a large easy spot number so it's easy to find out where you need to go. The machines are set at 6, but you can change this as long as you do it before the start and not halfway through. I'd never used a ski erg machine before, so rather than, practice, I just watched a YouTube video instead and tried to remember how it showed how to use the machine. There's also machines in the practice area before the start, so you can have a go there in case you've forgotten to watch the video. My wife had never used a ski erg before, and as you can see at the start of the video, she used the one in the practice area. I did it in 5 minutes 15, she did it in 5 minutes 55. I think my superior height and reach makes ski erg a bit easier. In this case, I would say men probably have the advantage. Back out onto lap 2 and I realised there's a large screen showing the names of everyone on the track as they pass. The screen helpfully tells you what event you're doing next and whether you're on lap 1 or 2, which is useful for people like me who don't pay attention to how many laps they run or which section to go to next. I was then on to the 50 metre sled push. This is 150 kilograms for men and 102 kilograms for women. I was dreading this one. I had no idea whether I could push 150 kilograms. I hadn't practiced, which you can also take as read now for all the other events, and I'd only watched the video to see the technique required. I actually really enjoyed it and found it surprisingly easy. That doesn't mean I was good at it, it just means it wasn't as hard as I thought it was going to be. My wife didn't enjoy it and found it more of a struggle. The times weren't too far out from each other. 2 minutes 42 to 3 minutes 17. I'd say both men and women are pretty equal here. I think I was quicker though because I was enjoying it more. On to the 3rd lap, and this time I started to feel my legs be a bit rubbery. The push took more out of me than I thought. This is the first time our run lap times are roughly similar. It was then on to the 50 metre sled pull, which is 103 kilograms for men and 78 kilograms for women. We'd both watched a video on how to do this to ensure our technique would be okay. I didn't find it too bad, but my wife didn't really enjoy it, which is reflected in the times, 5 minutes 23 to 6 minutes 59. We then back out for a 1k run. This time my legs thankfully didn't feel like rubber, but they did feel like jelly. The push and pull had taken a little bit more out of me than I thought. This time our run times were roughly similar. The next station was the 80 metre burpee broad jump. I have to admit I've never burped. Is that a word for someone who does burpees? I saw it in a video and thought it looked easy, and how wrong I was. You have to lie on the ground, stand back up, jump and then repeat. It felt like I wasn't moving at all. Every time I lay down I didn't want to get back up. I felt awful. Although one of the judges did say nice technique, which was good to hear, but I think maybe he was just trying to make me feel a bit better about myself. My wife was much better at this, which was reflected in the times, as she was 30 seconds faster. I was then back out for another 1k run, and this time my legs didn't actually feel too bad. I think I was just thankful that I was not burpeeing anymore. Is burpeeing, is that like the verb of burpee? I'm not sure. It was then onto a 1 kilometre row on Concept 2 rowers. I've used a rowing machine many times and I found it very straightforward. Again, my wife didn't really like the rower. I think I have an advantage of height and reach, which was reflected in the times, and that I was 30 seconds faster than her. Then back out for another 1 kilometre run. I felt really good at this point. The rower had felt like a bit of a rest for me, and I realised I was one of the faster runners going around the course. This was also the same for my wife, which I think reflects our running background rather than our strength background. I was then onto the 200 metre kettlebell farmer's carry, which is 24 kilograms for men and 16 kilograms for women. I have to admit, this one was tough. I had to put chalk onto my hands as they'd become so sweaty, but unfortunately I kept on dropping the kettlebell down so I could readjust my hold. This was the first event my wife beat me at. She was 1 minute faster, which was due to her less sweaty hands and superior ability to lift the weights. I put this down to her being stronger and better rather than a difference due to sex. Then I was on to the second last run and I was feeling okay. We both lapped in roughly the same time. The second last event is the 100 metre sandbag lunge, which is 20 kilograms for men and 10 kilograms for women. This is designed to destroy your legs in alternative lunges while carrying a sandbag. Again, it's not a difficult task to do once you get into a rhythm, but it does make your legs sore for the last run. My wife beat me again on this one. I'd like to say it was because she had the 10 kilogram bag, but in reality it was because she was much better at it than I was. Then I was on to the final run. My legs were gubbed, but at least it was the last one. Wondering who is that baby who appears occasionally, and that's my son. One of the great things about Hyrox is just how spectator friendly it is. He enjoyed watching all the action. The last event was 100 wall balls. The men's wall ball is 6 kilograms and the female wall ball is 4 kilograms, but they only chuck it 75 times. Before you face the misery of throwing a ball against a high target 100 plus times, I say plus because if you don't hit the target, then the throw doesn't count. I found this out as I was keeping track of the numbers along with the judge, who was a number clicker to keep track. I counted 20, but he'd only marked 18. The time I was at 90, he was at 80, and I'm sure I threw the ball 110 times before he said I'd completed the 100. This was the event my wife thought would be the worst, but she actually really enjoyed it, probably because it was the last event. Her time was 2 minutes faster, which I think was due to doing 25 less reps. I noticed that this year they've changed the women to do 100 reps. So in this case, I'd say women did have an advantage, but no longer do. Overall, I won by 9 minutes until I checked the results. I was given a 10-minute penalty for going in at the wrong point during the last 1k run. I'd only run 600 metres. Despite the signs up telling me what to do, I'd managed to screw up. This meant my wife was the winner by default by 1 minute. Does this prove anything? Yes. It proves that my wife is better at following instructions than I am. Overall, it's a great fun event that I'd say is as equally challenging for men as for women.